All right, Alex. What's up, man?
Oh, Thursday night.
We're back at it again. So, yeah, this is Wondercast. We talk about marketing, branding, business topics. Sometimes we have a guest. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's just Alex and I, and we're cutting up. And like the last episode we did was an absolute meme sesh. So, are we gonna try that again? Or yeah, absolutely. There's that sound effect. So, last one was an absolute meme sesh. We hope that you made it through that one and then that you're going to listen to the future episodes. We really do. But yeah, again, welcome back to Wondercast. I'm your host, Ryker Taylor. We got Alex Masterstep in the house. And yeah, really excited about this episode. We're going to be talking specifically about branding, marketing, brand psychology, marketing psychology, all that fun stuff. So the last few topics that we've done have been a little bit more, I don't want to say opinion pieces, but almost like that, of like where we've been talking about balance and confrontation and all these different like things that you might encounter, almost like skill sets. And I wanted to go something that's a little bit more tangible for businesses, that's relevant to a little bit of our area of expertise. Imagine that. We'll actually speak to something that we're experts at. Or at least that we think we are, right, Alex?
Well, yeah, I think, you can look at it in two different ways. And the way I think that this next like phase of things is going to go is basically like a new season.
Yeah.
So here I am giving an opinion again, talking about not doing it. But yeah, I think that this will be nice, a nice kind of segue into a new stratosphere of topic.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess put on your hat, strap up your boots, and get ready for an episode, right? We need like some kind of like cowboy rodeo sound effect.
No,
we don't have that. We're in West Texas, and we don't have any kind of Old West rodeo anything. Yep. We need like a yeehaw or something, right?
Sam shooting off.
Whoa, hey now, don't be talking about Yosemite Sam. That's banned. Yeah, no. Can't be talking about, Yosemite Sam up in here, man.
To be fair, I forgot.
Yeah. No, okay, so let's delve into the topic. Branding, marketing. We talk usually for a few minutes towards the end of these episodes about particular brands that we're jiving on or that Alex is liking and why. And so we're going to kind of start, at least for tonight, and probably moving forward more often, making the episodes a little bit more based around that. And then I'm going to talk about some marketing that I've seen that I really like. So let's talk first about Domino's, the Domino's brand. Alex, you've done a brand love on them, okay? So you know this brand. You're familiar with this brand. And those of you listening / watching to this episode should also be familiar with Domino's. One, because you've probably eaten there before. Two,
Hopefully.
Because you've watched Alex's brand love. I mean, right? You've watched
Absolutely.
Alex's brand love?
It's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yes.
People have to have seen it. With all, like his 17 views or whatever isn't necessarily reflective of how expansive the reach is on that.
Right.
Yes.
To be fair, there's like 50 views on that one, I think.
Oh,
So.
hey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I just went on with the finger guns there too. I'm going to get banned. Yeah, dude. All right. So Domino's, you did the brand love on them. Specifically, you talked about, there was a whole section where you talked about how they had done this campaign in the past that had this character called the Noid. And lo and behold, in that episode, you talked about how it was good that they had moved off of that and how bad it was. In fact, I remember when you were doing the research for Domino's, you almost weren't going to do it on Domino's because of that whole Noid character and some of the controversy surrounding it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what I saw a couple of weeks ago? You know it because I told you that I saw it. Have you seen it yet?
Alert. I have not.
Okay.
Actually, I haven't seen it. I might need to cue that up.
Yes, you need to maybe add that into this. Future Alex, do that or something. I don't know. But yeah, the Domino's brand, they are now running a commercial, the most recent commercial. They've brought the Noid back, but not just one Noid. Like in the commercial I saw, there was a bunch of little Noids running around. And it was like the one thing that Alex particularly called out and said, like, this was a bad thing. It seems like they learned from their mistake. And here they are doing it all over again.
Yeah. I think what probably happened is that Domino's didn't actually do their full research and figure out why they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's been
like since the 80s.
30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
been a
been at least
changing of the
30 years.
guards since then.
Yeah, I'd venture to bet that that's probably what happened, or they thought enough time had passed, and
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think people are going to look that up.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I honestly wouldn't have known that
Yep.
unless you had, I only did because you did the episode. And
also,
talked
I
about it.
wouldn't have done that either unless I did the episode. So, yeah, it for lack of a better term, the Noid caused a controversy with a specific individual that thought that they were referencing him being paranoid, and he is no longer with us, partially because of that. And so they stopped running that ad because of the controversy that kind of surrounded it. I don't know that it was like a huge news story or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
Bottom line, it wasn't good.
I was going to say bare minimum. It was probably just a bad look to keep it going in general. And
Yeah.
So, it's interesting that they did bring it back because
Maybe time.
30 years is
time. Maybe time does heal all.
maybe.
That's
what they say.
I don't know. Yeah. So to that point, though, something you just said, and this is, I'm glad you said it because it was a point that I was going to bring up even if you hadn't said it. So we need to do like a crystal ball sound effect thing. Like, I'm talking about what is it? The Illuminati sound effect. We need that.
Oh,
so yes. We need, you just totally read my mind there. But this whole thing of like you said, time has passed and people have probably forgotten. And but what you said specifically is that maybe they didn't go back and do the research and remember why they didn't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. It's been, we were saying the 80s, so it's actually been closer to 40 years. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, when I was doing the research, I think they stopped doing the ads in 87.
Okay, so 30 to 35 years, somewhere in there. Anyway, it's been a long time. There's certainly been a changing of guard in probably a lot of different departments at their corporate headquarters. And so you get these new people in that weren't there in the moment and they don't know why they don't do the thing anymore, right? Like it's a common thing that I see in companies happen all the time. The people that have been around the longest, they've gone through a bunch of crap. And so they know why they don't do certain things anymore, but that doesn't necessarily get passed down to the new people. So whenever the older people, the more seasoned people leave, the new people step in, and they have no idea, so they go back to their old ways because they didn't actually glean the wisdom from those previous people. That, not saying that's exactly what's happened here at Domino's, but it wouldn't shock me if that was part of the case. And there's countless brands that have done that with both their branding and marketing over the years. It's not just Domino's. We're not just picking on them. Pizza Hut, we've talked about them on a previous podcast, talking about retro rebranding. Pizza Hut's gone back to their old brand because they'd gotten away from it because but they've gone back to it now because it harkens people back to a day when Pizza Hut was the pizza place. And Burger King has kind of done the same thing recently. Alex, why don't you talk to us about Burger King?
Oh yeah, Burger King has no shortage of controversy as of late.
Yeah.
But I don't know that necessarily hinders back to their
Sure.
brand per se. It's just they make stupid mistakes. But yeah, I think to the point of Burger King kind of harkening back. In fact, I didn't realize, I saw the other day too that they had changed their brand back to it wasn't the oldest iteration of the brand. Mm-hmm. It was like the middle iteration of the brand. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought here. What was your question again?
Burger King making controversy.
Yeah, their controversy is more just lack of knowledge, and not really considering. If you've seen in the news lately, they did well for International Women's Day a month or so ago. They had put women stay in the kitchen. And they were trying to, it's kind of baffling. Like, in this
You're so
climate,
dumbfounded right now.
Yeah, in the current climate, like, that is just a horrible, horrible way to start a sentence, even if you're trying to grab attention, which is what they ended up trying to do. They say women stay in the kitchen because we're offering a Burger King scholarship program. And this was, coincidentally, it was just right when they rebranded themselves. And so now that brand has kind of tarnished itself already in the first iteration, they're going to have to wait another, 5-10 years before they harken it back to another rebrand, or they change it back to something more modern.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to be fair with Burger King, I think that was mainly just their own Twitter thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, but that brings up the other point too. Marketing and branding. Branding is so much more than the logo, right? It's so much more than the look. I know I'm preaching to the choir when I'm talking to you about this, Alex, but we need a choir sound effect, man. We've got so many options here.
I know you saw me reach for the soundboard, and there's nothing there. It's just like, gosh,
we need like something ethereal, man.
I know.
Anyway, branding is so much more than that. It is the voice that you use on Twitter. It is the voice just in social media in general. It is the experience that people have when they come up into your stores. It's that smell, right? Like when you walk into a barbecue place, for instance, like it has a certain aroma there. Like you can, that's part of a restaurant's branding, is the smell that you get when you walk in.
To be fair, I think there's I don't know, is Crumble a chain, or is that just
Crumble is a chain. Mm-hmm.
Crumble had a thing where they were having scratch and sniff stickers for when you walked into their store. On each box, they had a scratch and sniff sticker that smelled like a batch of freshly baked cookies.
Well, that's amazing.
To be fair, I mean, I don't know that I would want that, but it's something interesting. It's something that you talk about. In fact, I brought it up. It's been like a month or so since I thought about it, so it's not like it wasn't sitting in the back of my mind. It just actually came back up into conversation.
Yeah.
Branding has many different facets. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're going where I want you to.
The branding has many different facets, kind of like you were saying, where you can use it like we have our own Sonic brand, and everybody or the bigger companies have a Sonic brand, where it's basically your jingle. Or you can have, your traditional type of brand, which is a logo, or, in this case, a scent brand, which is kind of unique to probably restaurants and places that sell you food.
Yeah.
But
we got to work on one for us, man. what would it even be? Oh my gosh. If you're watching this episode.
Guys that are here now, I probably sweat.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding.
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't feel like we have a unique scent. And you're probably asking the wrong person because I can't smell.
Yeah.
Here's a little tidbit for you listeners out there.
Fun fact. Alex's nose is broken. Yeah. Yay for him.
Absolutely.
There it is. Oh, man. Yeah. So here's the takeaway. If you're listening to this and this branding stuff, it's, I don't even know. Honestly, we've covered so much stuff. Oh, my gosh.
Honestly, it deserves this a little more than it did the Grant birthday party.
I love how I teed myself up to deliver the golden nugget.
I love how you teed yourself up for it to not be a Mimi episode and be more like,
like we're trying to be serious.
We're really
here.
trying to be serious, but here we are, stumbling over our.
It's a Thursday night, though. You know how we be.
Fair.
You know how we be on a Thursday night.
It is 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's past my bedtime. Anyhow, your point was that you were saying that there is more to.
There's more to a brand than just the logo, and that should be a takeaway here. Is that there's all kinds of facets to a brand, but there's also the knowledge that as that brand ages and matures, remembering where it came from and why you made the iterations along the way will help you avoid situations like what Domino's may be facing in the future. It's too early to call, in my opinion, with this whole Noid thing, whether or not people remember it enough for it to dig up old wounds or whatnot. But you got to remember where you came from, right? So that's one takeaway. Remember your brand's history and your brand's journey. 2, be diverse, have the logo, have the Sonic brand, have the scent brand if it's relevant. Even further than that, just have the whole brand experience from when, like who has a really great brand experience? Chick-fil-A. And do you know why?
Absolutely, they do.
Do you know why? You know why.
But I mean, because,
rhetorical.
Yeah, sure.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's the way that they carry themselves.
Yes.
And that's even lending towards more of another portion of branding too, is saying, It doesn't have to be a logo. It is their logo too. Let's not kid ourselves.
Their logo is sick.
Chick-fil-A logo is pretty good,
Yeah.
and that's an updated version. They've updated it in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
People don't notice it because it's very subtle. But sidebar anyway, their branding is basically their personality, their company culture per se.
It is that experience to a core.
Yep.
You feel it when you walk in. Why are they dominating the fast food industry with having, in the grand scheme of things, they have less stores than like McDonald's or even Burger King and stuff. Yet they dominate the fast food industry because they have quick drive-through times. That's a part of their brand.
Yeah.
Their turnaround times.
Yep.
You know, like you know, if you're in a pinch and you need to go to lunch real quick, I'm going to Chick-fil-A, man, because I'm going to be in and out in like 10 minutes. And that's just, it doesn't matter how long that line might be. That's just a thing that's going to happen. So that's another takeaway here. If you're listening to this episode, the brand for your company is every step of the interaction that the customer, even the employees, might have with you in your organization. And here's the good thing and also the bad thing about branding. If you aren't intentionally working on your brand, it doesn't matter. You still have a brand. But because you're not intentionally working on it, it's probably not a good brand. Because, like, if you're not aware of the fact that the way you communicate, the way you carry yourself, every interaction is part of your brand, then your chances are you're not thinking about that stuff. And so it's building out this whole brand presence of its own without you actively working on it. And then the next thing you know, you have this whole, you're known for this whole thing that you don't even control. You don't control your own narrative because maybe you don't respond quickly, or you have, if you're a restaurant, you have poor drive-through times. People are that's part of your brand. Branding is not it can go to both sides of the spectrum, both positive and negative. So before I go too rambling on this topic, Alex, what else you got?
I mean, I was going to say, I almost want to differentiate a couple of things from that because I agree with your main point. I would say that you're right about the branding element of things. I think that whatever your facets of your business are, so like you said with Chick-fil-A, drive-through times and the personality, for like Duracell, I don't mean to open old wounds here, but for like Duracell, the chime, for many other companies, it's mainly the logo. I'd say that branding is a good way to describe it. There was another word I was trying to use for it though. In this facet, I'll probably have to come back to it because I lost it. But yes, I think that ultimately it is your brand, but it's more your brand elements of your brand, not necessarily. When you hear brand, I think a lot of people associate branding with, like physical, or not necessarily physical things, but things that you can see. Mm-hmm. But it might be more of a feel, or it might be more of a smell. It's not necessarily something tangible. There is more to it than just those things. So.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the branding stuff in a nutshell, kind of, and we'll circle back around to that as we always find a way of doing. But to talk more towards the marketing side, what's something marketing that you've seen lately, like a TV commercial or something that stands? I've got one that I'm going to blurt out after I let you answer first.
Okay. Well, I mean, we actually watched it today. Something that kind of caught my eye that was kind of a shocker, even to all of us in the room, was Southwest.
Yeah,
Southwest had a advertisement that came on earlier this evening, and we honestly at the beginning of it thought it was a Geico commercial. It had complete Southwest Airlines, I should say. I don't know if there's a differentiation there, but that was one of the things that kind of caught my eye. It was an interesting marketing ploy. It made me kind of think about it some more than I needed to. And it was something goofy. It wasn't even necessarily like...
That's why we thought it was a Geico commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you know what brand I think is doing something really unique with their marketing?
What's that?
Charmin. Okay. Have you seen the Charmin Lab?
No, I can't say I have.
For those of you listening and watching, when you're done watching this episode, please watch it to the end. It helps out our algorithm. But when you're done, go Google Charmin. I believe they call it the Charmin Go Lab. And Obviously, Charmin toilet paper, it's in their best interest to sell more toilet paper. But they have come up, these are legit ideas. These are real things. You can go to their website and look them up, and they are actually working on these. They have created a research lab to help build products that will help you enjoy the go. That's their tagline, is enjoy the go. They are working on a robot that will bring you your toilet paper to the bathroom whenever you inevitably run out of toilet paper in the bathroom and it's an emergency and there's not someone else in the house to bring you a roll. You got your little GoBot, as they call it. But the one that really stood out to me, I saw it the other day, a commercial for it. They pitched the idea, and I forget exactly what they called it, but it's essentially an AI bot that recreates you on Zoom meetings.
I saw that.
You saw
that. I actually did see that.
That's a real thing. I don't know if
it
you
was a joke.
I went and looked it up. They have a legit website. They are legitimately working on that. That is a real thing.
That's very strong.
Yes. So to the point of branding and marketing, you can build. It's like you don't even have to achieve a certain level. Honestly, like you don't have to be a Charmin. You could be the size of a company we are, even smaller or bigger, whatever. But you can be relevant to your audience, to your brand. You can be on brand by doing stuff that's not necessarily in your wheelhouse. Like it's Charmin doesn't have now they do, but previously in the 80s, I don't, or 90s or even early 2000s, I doubt that they had teams of developers working on technology. They're a toilet paper brand, but now they're going off the beaten path and they're on a roll, pun intended, with developing all of this extra sound. I see you queuing up a sound effect. I'll let you go and play it. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Yes. Pun intended. But yeah, they're working on all these extra things that support their product, but is not necessarily their product. And to me, I think that's killer marketing and branding. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about it now in a podcast, and they're getting free. For what it's worth, they're getting free media. You know, I'm sure all of our listeners, our loyal fans out there, all two of you, really are enjoying this. Yes, are really enjoying this. But yeah, that just really stood out to me. So I like that the innovation. Like you think of Charmin, you think of toilet paper, but it's more than that now.
It's true. Yeah, we in college, that was another thing that we kind of tried to do for our classes and things like that. When I was doing design classes, we had to design an ad for toilet paper. We had to make the logo for the brand and whatnot, and that was honestly one of the hardest things I'd ever had to do. It's because how do you market toilet paper? And that, to me, I agree with you. I feel like that's such an innovative idea. It's not necessarily selling you more product, but it's gathering you more attention based off of the realm that you live in.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't live in the bathroom, but if you do, Charmin knows exactly how to get to you. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a very interesting marketing tactic, and it's definitely got people talking. Because I saw the ad that you're talking about with the AI thing, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it was funny. Yeah. And now that you say that it's real, I'm kind of shocked by that.
Yeah. And then we're going to get to the end of this episode. It is
real, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to get to the end of this episode. We're going to go look it up. And I mean, I already did look it up, but we're going to go re-look it up, and I'm going to look like a fool because it's going to have actually been a parody site that I thought was real.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I'm still a piece of toilet paper, is what I should say.
Yes. But so again, we're going to fact check this episode. Luckily, this thing doesn't go straight to the masses. So we have the opportunity to cut some things out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes. But
I won't, because I'll forget.
Yeah.
And then it'll be funny because we put it out and we're still making fun of ourselves, and people are going to come to us and say, hey, those are the guys that thought that the Charmin AI bot was real.
That'd be awesome. Yep. I would love that. Honestly, if you're a client of ours and you're listening to this, please, the next time we have a meeting, please bring this up. I would love to talk to you about this. But yeah, no, that goes back to the kind of even the marketing psychology. They understand their audience. Hopefully their audience isn't constantly living in the bathroom, like Alex said. But they understand their audience, and they understand that toilet paper inherently, I mean, I'm hoping that toilet paper sells itself. Like, right, it's one of those products that, like, I'm really hoping you're not having to educate others on the importance of toilet paper.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a product that should just be selling itself. They're out there on the front lines doing all this extra stuff around it to keep their brand unique. Because you know what? I think of Charmin, honestly, even beyond this whole Go Lab thing. I think that their bear marketing, I love their bears. It makes it
Bare bottoms.
Yeah, bare bottoms. Like, I'm totally okay with talking about going to the bathroom in the context of their commercials, like when they do it with illustrations of bears. I like, they definitely did their research to find out that people are okay with that. I certainly don't think of Quilted Northern. Do you ever think of them? No.
And I can't say that I like buy Charmin actively, but I do. When I think of their, when I think of when I think of toilet paper branding, I do think of Charmin. That's the only commercial I can ever think of. Honestly. Well, you know what? They did have those. What was the one with the 3 little old ladies?
Quilted Northern.
That was that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember them doing ads for a little bit, but I haven't seen anything as of late.
Cottonelle, that's another one. But there's they have that little tiny baby bear.
That's right.
The little tiny teddy bear thing. And then Angel Soft. So those are the 4 that I can think of that probably are the biggest in the industry. But even out of that, to Alex's point, I don't actively go out of my way to buy Charmin, but 9 times out of 10, I just find myself buying Charmin. Why? Subconsciously, I think I just buy Charmin because of their branding. And that, at the end of the day, that's a great way to put an exclamation point on this episode, is if you're doing your marketing and your branding correctly, then it should be speaking to the buyer's subconscious. They should be taking the action. They should be buying the product, going to your restaurant, whatever it may be, because you've done a great job of just being out there, being there. Not necessarily stuffing your brand and product down their throat, but you're just around them in their environment. So that's what I've got for you. Alex, do you have anything wrapping this up?
No, nothing in particular. I thought those were good conversations, and I think that it's a really interesting thing to dive into if you're listening to this. Find out what your brand is. It may not be your logo specifically. It may not be, your chime. You may have something unique that like Charmin or somebody else might represent. So take a look into that and see what you can figure out from that. All
right. Well, that's all for today's episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. We'll probably pick back up on a topic similar to this because I really enjoyed it and I know we could go a lot further with it. So tune in to the next one that's just Alex and I. Also tune into the next one with a guest. It's going to be a good one. And we'll catch you later. Bye.